Hey there and happy Tuesday. So it's good to be here with you. Last night I had another fantastic class with a good turnout in Medelia. There would have been a better turnout, but the storms got crazy. So there were tornado warnings, and the community ed director, she said that the sirens were going off in town in Medelia, but in the school we were protected enough by the brick building. We didn't even hear the sirens, which is kind of a scary thing to think that what's warning us we can't even hear. But that kept a few people away because of hail. Like, nobody wants or should be driving in large hail, and just a scary situation. So missed those that couldn't make it, but we kept on with the faithful ones that were able to make it and actually still showed up for last night's class in the middle of the storm. And kind of glad that things blew over so that my drive home was safe, because I'm always a little nervous when there's been tornadic activity, put it that way, in the area. And then when it gets dark, sometimes it can still continue, and the air did feel weird when I was unpacking to get to my class, but as it cooled down I felt better about it. But still, it's kind of a eerie feeling to drive home in the dark, wondering if anything's there. But my husband is always good at updating me too. Hello there, Betty. Good to see you from Hutchinson, Minnesota. My best friend since kindergarten lives in Hutchinson. And so if you ever go to the doctor, her husband is a doctor there in town. So maybe. Alrighty. So here we have a kitchen sink card. I call that. My highlight is it's springtime and I love using floral paper, so I'm going to be using the Florals in Bloom today for you guys, as well as multiple other products. And as you look at what I'm using today, you might say, oh gosh, that is a lot of things, but also think that you could be subbing those if you have some things already that are similar, or take away. You don't have to add everything that I did. And so let me just get going and you'll see what I mean. All right, let me get my camera turned around here. So yeah, this weekend I'm going to be crafting, so you might be seeing a few videos from me before I go away, because then as I come up with these ideas and showcase them to you, then I'll pack them to give me something to work on while I'm gone. All right, so here is the card, and at the class that I recently did, I gave people the option to make it Happy Mother's Day like this is, or make it into Happy Anniversary, because some people don't need that. So Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper, like I said, is the focal point. But if you want to take a screenshot, there's a lot of different things to this, even though it's a simple card to make. And I also have the alternates too on here. But the Happy Mother's Day, that was from a retired stamp set, full disclosure that way. And here's that Florals in Bloom 12 by 12. And so you can see lots of fun floral images there. So this will be making the rounds now that it's spring, because I love it. It came out about a year ago in the annual catalog, and still just a fun one for this time of year. Right, I'm just going to put my design there. And one of my retiring colors that I love, peach pie. And about the time I think, oh, it's a great time to pull out a nice color to go with those. Excuse me. I got something stuck in my throat. to pull out cardstock to go with those pretty florals, then this color will be retiring. So keep that in mind too, because this week we have double rewards coming up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So normally when you place an order with Stampin' Up! Over $20, which most people, their order is over $20, you'll get 10% back automatically if you're opted into the rewards. But there's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you'll get 20% back. That is actually a better long-term deal than free shipping. So keep that in mind there. So this is retiring, so this is a time when I tell people about that in case you're ordering already because of the deals going on. All right, so let me just take this chunk of my Designer Series paper, going to remeasure it so that I have the right measurements for you. This is a 4x4 square piece. Look at even the back side's kind of fun. All right, so let me get some adhesive on this, and then I can put that down on my card. And the card peach face is opening up this way. All right, whoops. I have to put this on the right way. So I'm just going to put this on the far edge of the card. Oops. And I want to eyeball it and leave about 1/4 inch from the side, the top, the bottom, all that. And then also retiring is the 6x6 Designer Series paper. And every year it retires. So even if it's the current in colors that have another year left, they will still go to a different pattern. And in fact, this year they'll be going from 6x6 packs to 12x12. So that's kind of a very different look. So I've got the lines here, or the floral, and because this is kind of florally, this, I don't know, I just don't like too much. It kind of then looks like fruit basket upset in a bad way. So I'm going to put my adhesive on that side so that it has the lines, which I think is just more pleasing to the eye. I'm going to put that down, and then you could either leave that peach space. What I've opted to do is just take a 4" by 1/2 inch strip here and just put that down to kind of cover that bridge there in between the gap, and then just add that like so. Just kind of adds a little more finished look. Like I said, it's not terrible if you do it the other way. And since we're kind of working on building this up, a lot of times I do my ribbon last, but I'm going to do my ribbon now and just get that on there so I don't have to work around my die cuts that I'm going to add and accidentally snag it or whatever. So what I've got here is the peach pie bordered ribbon, and so I just keep hanging on to all my ribbons. So a lot of times too, Stampin' Up! Will come out with coordinating ribbon for, oops, that looks like it's upside down here. Come out with coordinating ribbon for the in colors both years and such. And so a lot of times, I forget if this was last year's or this year's, the ribbon was very similar and I liked them both. So not a bad option either way. And we're noticing less ribbon with this next upcoming catalog, so keep that in mind too. I don't know if they'll give it to us as options for online exclusives or what, or if they just think, oh, do people not like ribbon? I like ribbon. So sometimes when I do classes, people will ask me to help tie their ribbon because it's not like they don't like it. It's just that for some people with their hands, it's just a little bit harder to fold. All right, so already this is just looking so pretty, isn't it? For springtime, I am ready for spring. Okay, this is where the kitchen sink comes into play. So these are the dies from the Lovely Blossoms bundle. And so let's see, these are called, Lovely Arrangements dies. So the sweet kind of is the Lovely Arrangements. Lovely Blossoms. The bundle is Lovely Arrangements. So these are the dies from that. And so you can see that that is coming into play. And what I'm going to do with this is just kind of lightly put some adhesive across the middle here because that's going to get covered up with our sentiment. So I'm just going to lay that down. But I just love this. It kind of gives it that gardeny lattice look if you think of spring flowers climbing up. Speaking of things climbing up, then we've got this die cut that I did ahead of time. And this is from that Petals of Beauty. And you guys, this is on the last chance and looking really, really affordable too. So for my classes, you guys will laugh. Those that come to my classes know what I do, but let me see if I have one here started. What I do for my classes, here we go. This is a prime example. I take like 3 of my little dimensionals, and here's one out, and I take them out and put them somewhere here in my stamp room, and I'm just going to pull it off here and use it on this. And I like to tell people why I do that. So if you were to put a sheet of dimensionals down on the table, as well as all my card supplies, and that's how I do my my classes, is I put everything out. Some people give their participants a baggie, but I have it out on the table where they'll be working on it. But when you lay down a full sheet of dimensionals, this often can look like a piece of cardstock. And I've had literally people stamp on this. If you look up close, you can see that beehive or that honeycomb shape there. But a lot of times people will grab it just thinking, you know, that's what it is. So I always try and break up the look of it by taking a few of those out. And so then I have to have them here in my desk area for for my use, which is totally fine. Totally worth it, but you might giggle if you think that. So these leaves, these are a dye. So Petals of Beauty dye. And love that. And that also, I've been using that kind of skinny sprig that looks like a leaf too. That's from Petals of Beauty. Just really gorgeous dyes. And that is part of a bundle, part of a suite. But the Petals of Beauty dyes can even be used standalone just for sprigs and embellishments like this too. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's do some stamping. I'm going to open up my Peach Pie ink pad here, and from the Petals of Beauty stamps. So this is where that comes in. That these are the stamps that coordinate with those dies. Just going to bring the scratch paper over here. All right, actually, let me do this. I'm going to take out my Heartfelt Hexagon, which is also on Last Chance. This is something I don't think I will ever put on my retired sale because I love my Heartfelt punch there. Love it, love it. Okay, so with this floral image here and my Heartfelt Hexagon punch, I'm just going to stamp off and then stamp a few times, and then just kind of add light and dark images kind of here and there, keeping it lighter throughout the middle. You can see building up some texture there. Got that. And then I'm going to come back with my Old Olive ink pad here. And because this is, my sample here says Happy Mother's Day, I'm going to show you what the Happy Anniversary looks like. This is also from a retiring stamp set, Layers of Beauty. I feel like Stampin' Up! Doesn't often give us Happy Anniversary stamps. So I'm pretty excited about this Happy Anniversary. And that shows up really well on that because we've lightened with the stamping off on the Peach Pie ink. All right, there's a couple different ways. Okay, you will laugh at this one too. A couple different ways to do the background for this. And what I've done is just taken and, let's see here. I'm going to see if I have enough. Yes, I do. Okay, so on my sample here, what I do and told everybody at class is just cut it in half and then space it apart, and then you'll have that for kind of a background look. But what somebody else did at my class, and I'm like, how did I not think of that? I always learn things from my own classes. She just made two and put adhesive on here, and then just line this up like so, and then put her second one there, and then there was no, it overlaps, and there was no, how do I want to say, no, well, there still is a gap. I wonder how she did that. She made it look, I wonder if she did it. Now I'm going to pull this apart. Now I want to know how she did it. She did two and made it look like there was no gap at all. I might have to call her up. Okay, because I give up now. But hers looked fantastic. Okay, so if I do that, and I don't think she cut anything down. I think she just, you know, I think maybe she did have a gap, but just used two. And that looks a little bit fuller. I kind of like that too. That's what she did, I think. But I will have to add some more adhesive just because it needs something to stick to that second one. So here I am teaching you how to do things, and I'm learning as I go, but I like that. Gives it a nice full look, very similar to the other, so either way works. All right. And then let me grab this last dimensional here, and then take from my sheet here and add a few dimensionals, or just even one more, two more here onto this. All right, so we've got dimensionals to pop up our sentiments, like so. Oops, there's one little backing on there. And that's going to cover up just that little base of the flower, kind of, but will help secure that, because I only put dimensionals on these like 3 top ones because I didn't want it to be too bulky, knowing this was going to go over top, and this was also going to hold down that little piece there as well. And then the last thing we have to do for the top is just take some of our 2025 through 2027 in color flat pearls. It looks like I've got, oh gosh, Yeah, after class, sometimes we use them up, which is okay. That's the whole purpose. And I bet my pick tools are still packed from last night's class. I'm going to have to do the old-fashioned way and use my fingers. I'm so used to my take your pick. So I'm just going to take the peach pie, one of the larger ones, and then one small for off to the side here, and then another small, and that's going to go up there, and just kind of frame our sentiment and add a little bit of sparkle. And I love how it just makes the card look so much more complete here. Thank you, Kate. I'm ready for spring. That's the whole goal of this. Now for the inside, what I did is took this floral bouquet, which if you see this, Kay, you're probably more of a flower person, or anybody watching, than I am. Is this a hyacinth? I'm not sure. I'm not good with flower names, even though I like flowers. So the same flower I noticed from my Gallery Blooms stamp set. And then Sending Love is from the Prayers and Promises, which I've been using up a storm. People are loving it and ordering it. So I paired the two together. It looks wonky, but when I stamp it out, it'll make sense here. And I like to, excuse me, have this on the same block just to give people a good experience. So I'm only looking at my Sending Love here to have that not be crooked. My flower is intentionally going to be off at an angle, but how fun to have that together and just adds so much to have that flower there, and it just frames it. And like I said, that give people success. I just put it right on the block together so that is all set to go. All right, and now this is ready to put in the inside of my card, my standard 4" by 5 1/4 here. And there you have Happy Anniversary, Sending Love. And then, like I said before here, if you need a Mother's Day card, same card, Sending Love. So there you have it. Very, very simple idea for the card, nothing hard to put together. Just a lot of pieces of cardstock, a lot of sentiment options and stamp sets used for the different backgrounds and textures and different things. But I like how it came together, and if you've been a crafter for a while, chances are you probably have a lot of options too that you can use, just like I did too. So I'm not sure what's going on with the rest of my day. I might be back later to do another card for you guys. Otherwise, for sure tomorrow, another 2 to 3 cards. That's my goal. So stay tuned for fun things, and don't forget the next 3 days, double the Stampin' Rewards on orders placed over $20. Take care. Bye-bye.